No, I like these. They're like low caffeine, 95 milligrams of caffeine. So late in the day, it's nice. It's just a little pick me up. They kind of taste like ass, but it gets the job. It gets the job done.
Why that and not like Red Bull?
Because, well, I like Red Bull too, but Red Bull has like guarana and other shit in it, and this is like super natural, monk fruit, nothing artificial. I don't know. I think it's better for you. Are we live?
We are live.
We are live. Well, welcome everybody. Episode 4, Tampa Bay Developer Podcast. I'm here today with my good friend Ishaan from Serenity Capital Management.
Hey Garrett, how you doing?
Good, brother. Good, brother. Happy to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
So Serenity Capital, local development company. What made you guys get into that business?
Oh man, that's a great question to ask, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Garrett and I have been friends since I moved here in 21, and it's been an awesome friendship so far. So what brought me to Tampa and how Serenity was formed? Happy to get into that. So Serenity Capital Management is the brainchild of me and my brother Shree. We moved here I moved from Miami. Shree moved from Cincinnati, and basically we're like, let's start a freaking business together.
Met in Tampa.
Yeah. So Shree has a lot of experience in commercial real estate. I was working in real estate down in Miami. We'd always known, like, I mean, he's older than me. He's 43. I'm 30. But I've always realized that I wanted to work with him and do something as a family. And I didn't want to move to Cincinnati. Right. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I wanted to move to a thriving part of Florida, and Tampa was that market.
Yeah,
and,
it's a good place to be in the real estate industry. That's for sure.
Dude, 100%. And Miami's fucking crazy.
Did you guys have that conversation though? Did you pitch like, hey man, you're coming down from Ohio, like I'm in Miami, you should just move to Miami, let's do this thing in Miami? Or was it too overpopulated, too much barrier to entry?
Well, so I was sort of moving along with his idea and his vision. He never wanted to move to Miami. Yeah. And it's a very saturated market, dude. Miami's crazy, dude. Miami's like, there's lots of money in Miami. Tampa, it's easier barrier to entry. Miami's just a tougher market, dude. And being a small family office, we're not like $1 billion business, and right? So those type of businesses would flourish in Miami. Right. In Tampa, I think we have some capital as a family, and so we feel that we were well adequated in this market. Yeah,
because Miami, there's a lot of like international players too, right? Yeah. Guys with like big pockets, like Saudi money. I mean, it's very hard to compete with.
Dude, South America was a major influence. So everything, all the oil crisis that was happening in Venezuela, a lot of the equity that was coming into Miami was coming from South America, and then Europe just started to sort of, pour in there. And Miami's a sexy market, man. It's beautiful people, clubs, nightlife.
And it's been hot a long time too. Long, for 100 years. Yeah. So what's interesting too is there's a lot of people, investors, developers, kind of expanding their territory outside of Miami, like Related Group. Related Group has a bunch of projects here in Tampa. Yeah. Since you've moved, just in the last couple of years, have you kind of seen more of a shift in people coming from Miami with capital, investing here in Tampa? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that, once we see New York money moving into Tampa, we know shit's real, right? So Larry Silverstein, who developed the World Trade Center, he's building in Tampa right now, right? Yeah. Related Companies is based in New York, I believe, and then Related Group is the Miami entity, or vice versa. But essentially, once you see those type of big names moving into Tampa, shit is getting real. Mm-hmm. Those names have been in Miami for years and years and years, and now they're starting to move into Tampa. So we're on the radar.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy to see. And then the high-end brands attracted to Tampa from that capital, like Related's doing the Ritz-Carlton. The Ritz-Carlton has never in Tampa's history had a footprint here. Now they do. The Pendry's coming here, Tampa edition just opened up. So it's like, it's not only some big players from around the country moving here. Now some of the high-end brands are Tampa's on their radar.
Yeah.
And they're moving in.
Yeah. It's not to the point yet, like we're in Miami. So I lived in Miami for 10 years. And initially when I first moved there, the higher brands were not there. So I moved there in 2010 for college, and they were not there. Now you're seeing like
Bentley Tower.
Dude, Bentley, Fendi Chateau residences, Armani.
Did I see Supreme has a
Porsche
tower?
building.
Probably. Maybe not.
I don't know. Supreme.
I saw one brand and I thought, they have a tower? God.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, man. Like, and I think until you see that in Tampa, then it's like, holy shit.
That's
this is
next level.
Dude.
Yeah. Like a Bentley residences in Tampa, that'd be insane. Or there's
Porsche.
Miami, there's Porsche,
Sunny
there's
Isles
Aston Martin.
Beach. Right.
So
insane.
there's insane brands. There's a Baccarat. They're building a building now in Tampa. In Miami. Miami. So everything's huge freaking name brands, man.
Baccarat, which is a crystal and glass company that does high end, accessories for, commercial properties, residential, and now they're into
wealthy.
But it's interesting. Like, I feel like Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, those brands, St. Regis, they've always had the footprint on residential, condominium, stuff like that. It's super interesting to me that a car company would get a deal with the developer to brand residences. Porsche, that tower in Sunny Isles Beach, the freaking car elevator they have in there, like. So
it's called the Deezervator or the Deezer something. So the developer's name's Gil Dezer. I've actually spoken to him before. He's a very successful guy. His father started in real estate in New York. But he's a car guy. He just loves cars, and I think he has a bunch of cars like Porsches and race cars and whatnot. And so he came up with the idea of that, and I actually had the opportunity to sort of speak with him when I lived in Miami. It's called the Deezervator or whatever the fuck it's called. And essentially, you go into it, and your car goes all the way up to your floor, and then you have a glass wall in your living room to showcase your car.
Insane,
right? It's pretty much like hey, I am worth a lot of money.
It's hey, the condo matches the car. Like I'm not driving a regular car. Like I want to see the car that I'm paying all this money for.
Like my condo is $5 million and my car is also $5 million.
Exactly, and they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So you guys both met. Your brother from Cincinnati, you came from Miami. You both landed in Tampa and started Serenity Capital Management.
Yep.
What projects have you guys completed so far?
Yeah. So the one that's on our website that we've completed is an 85 home subdivision. We started construction on that probably 4 or 5 years ago, bought the land. It was about the 30-acre site, and it was an 85 home subdivision, 55 plus age. We really marketed out to the Midwest and Northeast.
Right.
A lot of our buyers there are like retired doctors. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, we are, we are Indian, but we cater to a lot of the Indian community, right? So if you go and tour that development, there's two groups of walkers. There's a walker group that starts at 5:30 a.m. There's a walker group that starts at 6:30 p.m. And they get together and they share the same culture, the same food. They're from the same area of India. So it's sort of like it comes full circle, right? Like where they grew up and then they came to the U.S., they were doctors and they practiced and they had kids. And then now they're, retired and they're sort of going back to those roots.
Interesting.
So it's sort of come full circle, but it's super cool to see that over there.
That's interesting, man. Do you think that they kind of sought you guys out? So we're reading on the website.
Yeah.
Lake Nona, suburb of Orlando, Florida. Serenity Reserve consists of 85 home lots. Total project cost of $45 million. As of May 21, the development has completely sold out. You guys handled all aspects of the development, which is super interesting, man. Yeah. So land acquisition, site development, construction, and sales. So on sales, run me through that. I mean, do you guys build out a sales team? How does that work as an integrated sales team as a developer?
Yeah, so we did have a sales team in-house. It was a family operation, man. So we hired two salespeople. My stepdad, who was the main developer on the project, he was there every day working 7 days a week. working super hard on that deal. And, he was the one that was taking these people through the home, showing them the furniture, the fixtures, the type of building it is, the type of house, the square footage. I mean, he knew this deal, like in and out. So
was he one of the main capital partners in the deal?
Yeah.
So, wow, man. So the guy essentially putting up the money for this development is also the one driving around in a golf cart, showing off the property and selling the product to the end user.
Yeah. Well, instead of his golf cart, it was his Bentley. But yeah,
literally.
Yeah. So he would go and he has a nice Bentley, and he took all these doctors in his car, and they would go and tour homes
in a Bentley. That's one way to sell it.
And he loved doing it. He's a workhorse, right? So.
Wow, the dude sounds like a beast. We got to have the whole team on the podcast one day.
That would be sweet.
Tyler, pull up View Development. I want to see if there's any other pictures. This is a beautiful community, man.
Thanks, man.
So obviously the process of development is a long one. It's super complicated, kind of short form. Mm-hmm. What does it look like starting from land acquisition and then getting to showing people around in the Bentley?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, it's the vision, right? Is looking up the market, the demographics, the traffic counts, looking up points of interest, like where's the retailers, where's the Publix, where's the schools, how good are the schools? Looking up the population growth, looking up just sort of very important variables that play a role into this type of a project. So the first part is market research, right? Is going through that market research report, doing the due diligence. The next step is finding the capital. Like in our case, we as a family had the capital for this type of project, and we did take it down all cash. The next part is finding the dirt, and we found a phenomenal piece of property. It was a 32-acre site. We bought it for about $2.7 million.
Wish you could do that today, right?
Yeah, those type of sites just don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
especially at that basis. So we secured the dirt, took the property through zoning, got it entitled. And then got our site plan approval, and then started on the site work. Site work, we did 2 ponds. That took about a year and a half to complete, and then from site work was the vertical part. And so for the vertical part, we do third party out that work.
Get the GC.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which would, if you guys were to integrate a GC into your business, that kind of adds a whole layer of essentially another business within your business, right?
Dude, totally, exactly.
It's not.
And there's a lot of risks that are involved with being a GC. There you have liability, insurance, and you have to perform to a certain expectation. And being a GC is tough, dude, because you're subbing out all the work, right? Like your wood frame, your trusses, everything you're subbing out. And so,
is it common for developers to have an integrated GC in their business?
I feel like most GCs turn into developers. I don't see developers turning into GCs.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just a completely different.
It's a different ballgame.
And what would be the advantage? Are you really saving that much money? I
think if you're a GC and you turn into a developer, yes. I think if you're a developer and you turn into a GC, maybe. Right. I would say that most GCs make about a 20% margin. So you probably have that cost savings.
Yeah.
It's between 15 to.
But it's not worth the headache.
Yeah.
Especially maybe on
it's a lot, dude.
on a smaller scale development. I guess if you're a national developer, maybe it makes sense to go down that road. But maybe on something like this, like a family development.
If you're Lennar or D.R. Horton or Discussion, you're building 10,000 homes, sure.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because then every percent counts.
Yeah.
So, wow. So a year and a half, 2 years just for the actual site work in terms of getting the lakes dug out, infrastructure, stuff like that. And then how long is that vertical construction?
Depends. So we actually were in this process during COVID. So that was an interesting year.
Lord.
So the sales process got kind of screwed up throughout that year. And the sort of, supply chain got screwed up. So pre-COVID, it probably took us 10 months to build a home. Post-COVID, probably close to 16 months.
That's a huge increase.
Months.
60%, 60% increase. Wow.
Right.
Wow, man. So $45 million project cost.
Yep.
You made, 2.2.
Yeah, so that was the equity multiple. We probably invested about $8 million in cash into the project, and we made close to $100,000 per home, and it was about 85 homes. So
it's a great return.
Yeah.
Any investor should love to see those numbers. Now, you did mention we'd love to find a site like that today. Do you think the big reason why that's not possible is what we were talked about in the first part of the conversation, which is there's so much capital moving to Florida, specifically Central Florida, and there's developers just eating up these sites?
Right. Yeah. I mean, dude, I think that you were seeing that 2 years ago. I mean, absolutely. Things have definitely slowed down. A stat that I like to say is that in 2021, $25 billion of net income moved into Florida versus $6 billion in Texas, right? And so Texas and Florida were two of the highest growing states, but you can tell just the sheer amount of net income that has moved into Florida and what's sort of catapulted that entire growth, right? There's a shit ton of income coming in. These are multimillionaires. Miami's seeing a lot of the sort of billionaires like the Ken Griffins, of the world, those types of guys that are hedge fund guys that are making shit tons of money. Tampa's seeing a lot of the millionaires, but as a stat, I think it's pretty awesome to see that, right? $25 billion versus $6 billion.
Yeah, number one and number two.
And so with that being said, to answer your question, it's been tough to find land sites. It's tough to find great land sites, and you have to be very choosy with the deals that you do, and it's just a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm sure that you can attest to. I mean, you're on the sales side, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, as a broker, it's a little bit easier in the sense that we don't have that long-term investment. It's a people business, right? I mean, you might work with someone for months and months and months to help them either sell their house or help them buy a house. But at the end of the day, we give them the keys and walk away and walk with our commission check. And that's the end of the relationship. It sounds like from what you're describing, just on this particular deal in Lake Nona, I mean, it's a few year commitment where your capital's invested in the property, you're not going to get it back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people watching that might want to get into development, maybe a young person or someone with capital, they might be thinking, wow, what a great deal. You put in X amount. You guys made obviously millions of dollars on this, but it almost sounds like in a way, problem is the wrong word, but something that is tricky because you guys have made a lot of money. However, how do you find the next project? You're not in the business of doing one deal, taking your money and running. Right. You guys are developers. Mm-hmm. You want to have your capital in the next deal.
Right.
What's kind of the vibe in the office right now of like, dude, we did great, Serenity Reserve, we made millions of dollars, and it's like, okay, well now we're a little bit frustrated because we can't move on to that next deal because land availability, et cetera.
Yeah. To be honest, we're not finding that. It's the exact opposite. There are deals out there. It's can you be, just work hard enough to and scavenge out these freaking deals, man. There are deals in any given market. There are deals, right? In a recessionary market, there's going to be more deals than there aren't. In an inflationary market, it's going to be tough to find deals, but we are finding deals, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Initially it was a residential focus, right? So initially Serenity Capital Management, our focus was to master the residential game here in Tampa, right? And we were uncovering a lot of residential opportunities. We closed on 2 deals. We moved here in 2021. We closed on Catfish Lake, which was a 16-acre site.
Pull that one up, Tyler, while we're talking about it.
Yeah,
I think if you scroll down, I saw it on there.
Yeah, it's on there.
Catfish Lake Townhomes.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
So that we closed last year in December. That'll be 24 townhomes. We closed on that deal, right? But it's finding the actual deals, right? I mean, we picked that deal up for $400,000, right? And so finding those types of deals that's impossible. I guarantee you that you can't find that type of deal right Another deal that we pulled that we acquired was a site in Riverview, which will be a great opportunity. That's going to be a 15-acre site. We're going through entitlement right now for a multifamily project. Riverview is a great submarket of Tampa. It's flourishing. Your price, your annual home cost has increased by probably 250% in the past, 2.5 years. Your average household income 3 years ago in that market was $50,000. Now you're at $75,000, right? So everything's increased. The sort of average household income, your average median price for each house, your population has increased, and so it's a great submarket. We were fortunate enough to be able to find a deal there, but it was a quick close. We closed all cash in 60 days. Right. So you have to know the market. You have to be cognizant of the variables that are happening in the market, and you have to be optimistic about investment.
And then in this particular situation, right? Like, you're mentioning land acquisition. What does that look like in your company and inside of your team?
You're looking at it. I'm literally.
You're the guy.
I'm literally the guy. Dude, but I love doing it, man. It's like fun. Like you have to love the fucking deal. Like and like me and you have this conversation all the time. It's like you have to love real estate. Yeah. If you don't love it, and if it's a job, just in life in general, like I had a job. I had a 9-to-5 job prior to moving to Tampa, and it was cool. It was fun, and I hung out with the boys at the office, and we talked shit. But like, dude, I'm creating something now, man. I'm a part of a bigger fucking picture, and this is so much more cooler. I'd choose this job any day. And so the acquisition part, it's me. We have Vincent at the office. We have a couple of interns. We're making cold calls every single day. We're sending out letters. We're actively looking at commercial sites, at residential sites. And like, it's all a part of this journey of learning and understanding the sort of market variables and what prices are, what a price per acre is, and what rents are, and what the demographics are, and how I value a residential piece of land versus a commercial parcel that's at a hard corner. It's all different dynamics and methods of valuation and rents, and I mean everything is a variable of your rent and what rents you're going to be getting for that type of asset. But it's fun, dude. I fucking love it. So.
Some people play video games at night. Some people watch Netflix. Other people like us might be on Zillow and MLS looking at properties, trying to find the next deal. I think you have to have that mentality.
Dude, totally.
Because how many deals do you look at before you buy one?
A shit ton. I mean,
hundreds, probably.
Dude, we're putting out at least 3 to 5 offers per week, and it's not like we're closing on these deals, right? But we're super active.
3 to 5 offers per week, and you've described probably 3 or 4 deals
that we've
locked,
closed.
Yeah. With maybe a few more on the way. Mm-hmm. That's unbelievable. So it's a pure hustle.
Pure hustle, dude.
And then is there a level of like scale to this where, from a company perspective, it's like, okay, well, if we can get 15 interns and, 6 other people, hitting the phones, and we kind of build this out and we get, essentially like a bullpen. Mm-hmm. Is that something that would help?
If we had a sales team, yes. But from what my experience so far, dude, is I'd rather keep it small and nimble and have everyone. I'd rather have quality work over having 20 freaking people just, making calls. Because if I can train 5 people to make calls and have good conversations with these sellers rather than have 20 people and not know what the fuck that they're talking about. Yeah. That's more important for me.
I totally get that, because how many calls do you get every day where it's like, another solicitor, another bullshit text message or email. Right. So small and nimble and actually making that kind of conversation and camaraderie with the seller.
And dude, our entire goal is to add value, right? And that's the name of the game for any business, right? Is how do you add value? How do we separate ourselves from our competition, who are our competition? And, throughout the sales process, we're constantly meeting with property owners. Like this morning, I met with a property owner, but I've been chasing her for 5 months, right? But I'm very optimistic on the site. I've done my market research. I know that market. I've driven it, 15 times. I know where all the growth is happening. And you see the growth happening, dude. It's next to.
It's hard to deny.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, if you know what's being built where, that gives you a good indication of where to put your money in the next project. This deal in Riverview in particular, you don't have to go into details, obviously, if it's confidential, but walk us through kind of what that looks like from, I guess, you essentially cold calling or knocking on this lady's door, and then, evaluating the deal, seeing the demographics around it, and then presenting that offer. Kind of what does that look like?
So this was through a broker that we initially met with in Tampa. She sent me the listing. I was like, I don't know if we can close in 60 days. That's quick.
Right.
I think they wanted $1.1 million for it. We're like, all right, we'll take a look at it. And then me and Shree really dug deeper into it, and we're like, holy shit, this is a great site. That site was brought to us by a broker, but it was an off-market deal. And what's interesting is that there was a land flipper. So somebody had this property under contract, and we assumed his contract and sold with the actual property owner. The property owner hated the freaking land flipper because he was,
he's not a real buyer.
Shooting the shit all day, with him. But with us, we toured the property, went there, did a survey, spent a lot of money on third party, reports, and did what we had to do to actually close the property. So.
Yeah, so you bought this from essentially a wholesaler, someone that tied the property up. Any idea what they had it tied up for?
Yeah, I do, because on the title report they slipped up. I think they had it under contract for $900,000, and we bought it for $1,150,000. So you made $250,000.
Well, I think you guys did pretty good on that one,
dude. I stole it, but yeah, it's
you know what though, you paid a good price for at the time and what you knew,
and we took a lot of risk, dude. We closed in 60 days. How many people do you know who can close on a land deal in 60 days in cash and be done with it?
Did you have a lot of contingencies on that deal?
No, it was contingent upon free and clear title.
Wow, so no contingency on, hey, we want to build XYZ.
No, dude.
Entitlements.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a huge risk.
Yeah.
That's a huge risk.
Now, we had some earnest money. So obviously there was earnest money, and we had, I think it was 60 days of DD, closing 15 days after, the end of that period. So we had 60 days to walk away.
Right.
But again, in 60 days, in this market, to get third-party reports done and all that shit done, it's tough. So we have to move super quickly.
What's the deal? What this site in particular looks kind of like, the land itself looks like it's bumpy. What's kind of going on there? Was it like an old mobile home park?
It was an old fish farm, and they bought it. Dude, listen to this story. So the sellers are very nice people. We met with them. The brother who lives in that red roof over there. Well, that's actually a tool shed, but his mobile home is just in front of that property. But Clint and dude, the nicest guy. Me and Clint have become boys.
You want to pay me what for this property?
Oh yeah.
Was he ecstatic that you guys were willing to pay?
Well, you know what's crazy is initially he didn't want to talk to us because he's like, hey, you're taking away my childhood home. So the backstory of this is his father bought this property in 1969.
Wow.
Sorry, he bought 40 acres of land for $7,000. $7,000.
Insane.
All right. And they've sold land since that point, but now they're left with this 20-acre parcel almost. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you guys are coming in here and you bought my brother's parcel, and now you want to buy my parcel, and no. And I'm going to stay here and, die on the property. But throughout meeting with him and talking to him and understanding what he needs and he wants to stay on the property. Well, you know what, Clint, you don't use the top 5 acres. So would you be okay with, selling us that? Is that something that you're open to? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to talk to my wife about it, this and that. And so that was a 3-month process. And we, finally came to a agreement on price. We put $50,000 non-refundable day one down on that property. And so that was a part of the deal, right? Here's $50,000 in cash. We're super serious buyers, and we want this property. So we're going to be buying that for $650,000, which was which is that 650, 50,000 is non-refundable, applicable to the contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Clint was pretty excited about that. This kind of speaks back to what you said earlier about, keeping your team small and nimble. I think that relationship is extremely important. How many developers have those cold calling centers, or at least pay companies to do that for them to lock in deals, land flippers, whatever? I think you guys being unique and small and nimble, you can go and shake that dude's hand and make that relationship over 2, 3, 6 months and get a deal done. I think that is what separates Serenity Capital from a lot of other guys.
Bro, no doubt. That's the value add, right? Hey, we're not the developer who's like, hey, I'm too good to talk to you because you
live in a trailer on a piece of land. Like, yeah.
I don't give a shit, dude. You're a person, man. And dude, I've been into Clint's trailer. We've talked on his porch before. I enjoy learning about his family, about his fish farms and what he did and how he grew up and how Sims Road looked and how US 301 looked and his struggles and what he does all day. Dude, he has this little dog and it's a schnauzer. He has this gator that he drives around his property on. Just hangs.
It's the dude's life.
He plays solitaire for an hour every night, and I just love to learn about that kind of stuff. It's cool.
Well, it's interesting, man, because it's Florida history, bro. I mean, looking at this picture right now, you can clearly see the property lines, right? It's obviously this big blank piece right here. Yeah. And all the new property around it. So you can imagine in the 1960s when his dad bought this property, man, none of that was there. This was probably 100%. In the middle of nowhere. I bet Sims Road was a dirt road. Yeah. And for someone to grow up on a property like that, and you got to have a tear in your eye on the way out. Yeah. I mean, I get it. My cousin's family is selling their ranch, and I understand that struggle and kind of that push and pull between the old Florida. My family's been here a long time. My dad talks about he used to go hunting on Harbor Island when he was a kid, shooting rabbits. Insane, crazy, dude. Yeah. That company, that developer Beneficial, I think paid $2 million for Harbor Island and developed that property. Now there's houses that go for over $2 million. But dude, I think you guys making a connection and being extremely respectful to a property owner goes a long, long way. No doubt in my mind, that's how you tie that property up. If you went in there with a suit and you acted too cool for school, I think it would have turned that guy off. I think he would have said, fuck you, I'll just die here. You can buy it from my kids.
Dude, he's had offers with people like that who come with the contract and a suit and do this, do that. He doesn't give a shit, man. He just wants to talk to a normal guy. Right?
That's awesome.
Tyler, can you pull up the Google Maps and type the property address in? Because I think it's pretty interesting to see what's going on around this.
Yeah, let's talk about this site in particular and why you guys love it so much. Yeah. Probably just new tab.
Yeah. And then go to Google Maps, and the address is 10.
Look on your computer, bro. Don't look at the TV. Apologize, everyone, for technical difficulties. We're still learning here. There we go. Yep. Is that good?
Perfect, man. So, I mean, as you can tell, right, is you have I-75, which is the major north-south, highway here that takes you down to Miami. And, we're off of Sims Road, which is a highly trafficked roadway. On the far west is Highway 40. Over here you have, US 301. There's a brand new Publix supermarket. You have a ton of residential home growth. There's a large, a development by Lennar and just 1,000 homes over there. So it's a growing market, man.
Just seeing this Google map, I mean, this is a pretty small picture. I think on the bottom right it says 2,000 feet. So this is maybe just a few miles wide. Walmart Supercenter, Lowe's, Planet Fitness, Publix. I'm sure in that Publix shopping center is a bunch more retail.
Dude, a ton.
Yeah.
A ton. And there's a brand new multifamily development. So just south of that Planet Fitness.
Wow.
So that's being developed by Falcone Group, who's out of Miami. And that's a beautiful development. And, they're asking rents that 5 years ago, you'd have been like, you're getting that in Riverview.
Right.
So,
but you know what though? Look at the amenities and look at the proximity to the urban core. It makes sense.
Dude, you hit the nail on that. Absolutely.
And then so Ish, you guys kind of looking at this deal, obviously you guys love it. You know, you bought the deal, you aggressively pursued it, locked it up. Now you guys own it. Now, what are the plans for this deal?
Yeah. So, Tyler, if you want to go back to our website, this is our proposed plan. So we have not gotten our zoning done yet, but this is our proposed plan. So Tyler, if you go down, scroll down and click on that project. Yeah. And then there it is right there. Boom. Right. So 240 multifamily units in today's world. You're looking at a project cost of $50 to $55 million. The capital markets have changed tremendously. So a year ago, when you could have gotten this deal done at 30% or 20% LTC, you're looking at 50%, loan to cost. So the capital stack has changed on this deal a bit, and it's going to take a lot more equity. But we are going off of one metric. It's called a yield on cost. So a yield on cost is essentially your stabilized cash flow over your total project cost, right? And so that gets you your yield on cost. And so your yield on cost, dude, is essentially a cap rate, right? So it's a cap rate, but it's a metric that we use to sort of gauge, hey, how much money are we really making on this project?
So it's a cap rate because it's using an operating income, but instead of dividing it by the actual sale price of the property, you're dividing it by what you have into the property in terms of construction,
correct,
and acquisition, hard costs, everything.
So it's called total project cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that includes your land acquisition, your hard costs, soft costs, and there's a pro forma that is done, and it's a very detailed pro forma, but this is the vision, man. 240 units off of 301 and Sims, and we have 2 points of ingress egress. We have off of Missouri. You'll see that towards the east side of the site. We have access directly onto US 301, and then we have access through Sims Road.
Wow, fantastic. Now that seems like a lot of density for that area.
Yeah, it is.
Did the site come with that density, or kind of how does it work when you purchase a piece of land? Obviously it's zoned agricultural or whatever. Then what's kind of that process the government allowing you to build something like that?
Sure. So in my experience in Florida so far, especially here in Tampa, every property is designated a particular zoning, right? So whether it's agricultural or commercial, in this case, this was a agriculturally zoned property. Now, every 25 years, the county comes up with their comprehensive plan, right? And so this is their vision plan. For 25 years, we believe that the growth is going to be X, and we believe that, that the development is going to happen in this area. And this is what we believe that the zoning has to be to, allow for that. So the future land use here is SMU 6, which is suburban mixed use 6. The amount of uses here varies. It accounts for industrial use, commercial use, and residential use. So our plans here is to apply for a comprehensive plan, amendment. And it's not going to be easy. It's a battle, with the county, and we have to make sure that we get the approvals done. But totally speaking, it's probably about a 12-month process.
Interesting. 12 months just to entitle the land,
to
build what you want to build.
Right.
And then kind of going back to the acquisition of it, how long did it take from you seeing the property to actually, okay, we own it, the day of closing? Like, what's that acquisition time length?
Well, dude, so this was quick, right? This was 60 days.
60 days, but even before that, when the broker showed it to you, did you underwrite it? You looked at the area?
Yeah, very briefly, but I didn't want to put much effort into it until we had control
Interesting.
of it. So once we had control, then I was fine with it. But it was a very close. I got our geotechnical engineer out there, a surveyor out there, an environmental scientist. We got the wetlands done. We looked at, the soils were super important to us, right? It's making sure, hey, like, are these good soils or bad soils?
Well, it's a fish farm. I mean, who the hell knows what is in the ground and the environmental?
So that's what's interesting, right? Is, hey, these fish ponds could be contaminated soils or whatever. So we have to do something that's called a test pit excavation. So usually in commercial development, you do what's called a SPT borings, where you basically take these huge rods and you go on deep and you basically try to
you go deep with your rods.
Yeah, you go deep. You basically take a rod and you go as deep as you can, and then you figure out, hey, is it good soils or bad soils? Which no, but in this case, we did a test pit excavation. So we took a backhoe out there, and we basically, took a backhoe out there. We had Daryl, who's a great geotechnical engineer, and we had him out there, and he was doing his thing, and we made sure that the soils were good soils in all the fish ponds, and it turned out to be great.
Yeah.
So we have great soils across the entire site. The only thing is that this property is in a floodplain. So we are going to need a shit ton of fill to raise up the site, which is going to be quite expensive, but
so you literally have to bring in dirt to essentially raise the land up to, obviously past the floodplain. What does that look like? What's that cost?
Hopefully not. We have a pretty large pond on the property, so we'll sort of excavate as much dirt as possible. What does it cost to bring in dirt? A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, was about $13 per cubic yard. Now it's about $25.
That's crazy.
So it's gone up a lot, but
a lot of people say these developers are coming here and there's so many people moving here and they're taking advantage and raising rents. Sounds like you guys got problems on the front end.
Dude, 100%.
All your costs are way, way, way up. It's not like 10%, 15. It's like double in some cases.
Dude, developers can't make numbers pencil. Thank God we are in this deal for the basis that we are on land.
Right.
Because if we were paying market price, which is $40,000 per door,
yep.
Dude, the numbers don't pencil, which is why people are not developing right now.
I wanted to ask you that. If you were to sell this today and you were the buyer, so you coming into this deal as it sits at today's market value, would it even pencil out? Would you even buy it?
It depends on what your cost of construction is. Because look, the rents are there, so we know that. Now, if your cost of capital is relatively cheap, and if your cost of construction is better than ours, right? Because we're a smaller time, developer. If you're a multifamily guy who's developing 5,000, units per year, and you're doing a shit ton of volume, and your costs are lower, I mean, dude, it's going to be, a different pro forma altogether. So if I was a buyer, would I buy this property? Hell yeah, because where else are you going to get 18 acres of land in Riverview off
it just
of
doesn't
301
exist.
It doesn't exist, dude. So.
Yeah. Do you, what? So essentially there's extra equity because you bought it very correctly.
Right.
Is there any improvements you want to make to the property? Meaning, do you want to take it to a higher level of finishes to get higher rents because your basis in the land is so low? Is there a thought of that?
Honestly, dude, we haven't really got there yet.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get
you're in the
rezoning.
entitlement phase, right?
Yeah.
And how many months are you into that?
Oh, dude, we got screwed by this attorney who we thought was the attorney, but ended up not being an attorney. That's a whole other story. But we probably...
Is that something we can get into at all or no?
Yeah.
Because when you say we got involved with an attorney who wasn't an attorney.
Yeah. So we worked, we were under the impression, we basically, without naming names, we met with a large built-to-rent owner in Tampa who introduced us to a guy, and we trusted his judgment. He knew what he was talking about, and he was recommended to us by a large built-to-rent guy that does millions and millions and close to billions of dollars of fucking assets, and
So of course you weren't thinking of necessarily verifying him because you were recommended.
Yeah. And also, it's like going to a doctor. Like, do you check
Right.
Their, like medical records.
I'm in a doctor's office. Of course not.
Do you check their board, certification? Probably not. You're like, he's a doctor, so I trust him. Or like, if you hire a freaking lawyer, are you going to the Florida bar website?
Of course not.
Exactly. So, we trusted him and ended up just being just a shitty person to work with, and just wasn't. Like, we're pretty easy people to get along with. Just get the job done, dude. Like, get the job done. We paid everything, dude. Everything, all the invoices were always paid. And, dude, just like the last couple weeks were just very sluggish. Wasn't really getting the fucking, deal to move along. And we needed certain things done. He just wasn't doing it. And so I was like, something's weird here. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up pivoting into a new land use attorney, and the land use attorney that we started to work with now was like, hey, did you know that he's not a barred attorney? And we're like, no. And we've been pursuing it ever since. So, we'll see what the outcome is with that. But, it really slowed us down, man. I mean, we were put back by 4 months, and we're paying, like taxes on this property. And we have $1.8 million in this property now almost. So, we're trying to move the ball along, dude.
Right.
This guy
it's a
screwed
setback,
it up for us. So to answer your question, probably to get us entitled for 240 units, which is going to be very difficult, but I think it's doable, man, because the market needs it. Probably,
I agree.
Probably another 12 months.
It's really interesting that you say the market needs it. Hillsborough County, the city of Tampa, a lot of the local municipalities talk about affordable housing so much, and then oftentimes it seems like they deny projects, based on a tree, based on it's going to be more traffic, based on et cetera. You can't on one side say we're denying projects, and on the other side say we need affordable housing. Developers are here to supply, they're here to build up that supply to alleviate demand. There's so many people moving here. We need the density of a development like this. What happens if the government says, no, you can't do the 240, you can do, 160? Have you underwritten different scenarios?
Yeah, so minimally, we know we can get about 150, 160 units on the property. And if we do, if we're not able to get 240, then we will do a built-to-rent type of development. So it'll be these like villa-style cottage homes, attached homes.
So there is Plan B built in.
Oh, dude, 100%. Yeah. I mean, like, regardless, we made money on this deal, like, as a company. So
the idea is like, hey, we locked in this great site. Here's what we can do 100%. Maybe here's what we can do 85%. And you just shoot for the stars. Like, you just shoot for like, hey, max density.
Yeah, why not?
And then go from there.
Yeah, dude. 100%. Yeah. So we aim for the max density, and there is ways to get it, dude. It's very simple. Our strategy here is to get it's SMU 6, get a comprehensive plan change to Res 9, which should be doable because there's other Res 9 categories and current zoning parcels into the proximity of the site. And so we go to Res 9, and we do a mixed use density increase into Res 12, which basically means that we got to incorporate some type of a commercial use into this project, which is on this picture here, and then there's something called a gray water bump, which essentially by law in the state of Florida, if you use and if you recycle your water in through your irrigation system, like your sprinkler system, and for landscaping and stuff like that, by law, you get a 33% increase to your density.
That's a lot.
That's
a lot.
Oh, yeah,
33% in density. When you talk about obviously 100 units, that's 33 more, 266. That's a significant density.
Dude, 100%. Yeah.
So combined with mixed use, you're talking about a good chance that you guys will get that entitlement. That's awesome.
I think so.
Yeah. So the site, I mean, the actual development itself, what does it look like? You mentioned mixed use. Where on this kind of map, and we'll show it for people at home watching, walk us through what the development looks like.
Yeah, dude, happy to do that. So this is the landscape architected plan, conceptual site plan. You enter in through Sims Road. beautiful landscape, tons of parking. We have, again, 6 buildings here as soon as you enter in, another 4 buildings for a total of 240 units. You have a beautiful pond, in the back. Right, and so building, and then we have a pool out front, amenities like a park space that's next to the pond. We'll have a sidewalk that goes around the whole pond too, which will be awesome. Building number 11 and 12, that's the commercial component. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what's going to be our commercial use, but it will be incorporated into the site plan here.
Wow, what a plan, man! And then two ingresses, egresses. So Sims Road, and then the other street you mentioned. Now is this like a gated community? Obviously, like a gate with a key fob to get in type deal. Yeah,
exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly. Secured access.
The whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be sick, dude. You're gonna have like eye scanners and fingerprint, and you're gonna be able to like.
I don't see a clubhouse. Is there like a clubhouse with a gym and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so that's building number
like 12, maybe.
12, right? And then number 11 will be the. It's probably gonna be like a 2,000 square foot, convenience store or something.
Interesting. Like that. Now, would that be something you guys, as the developer, do you get to choose that tenant? Like, do you get to choose?
Choose is a bit selective, but yeah, I mean, do we go out to market with a 2,000 square foot, vanilla shell and sort of like market it out? Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Is there a deal where, obviously, okay, we'll start here. What's the exit strategy?
If we develop this as a family, then it's to hold it long term. We are long term holders and just cash flow it. I think it'll be a cash flow machine.
Oh yeah.
I don't see us having less than 95% occupancy here. And if the market is the market how it was a year and a half ago, and cap rates are down to 4 caps for multifamily, then sell it.
So you're going into this deal without the need to sell it.
No, we don't sell it. No way.
That's an extremely favorable position to be in.
I think so.
Do you think a lot of other developers are not in that position where they've got this investor, they've got this, capital who needs their money back, all that sort of stuff? You guys are unique in that you're very fluid.
Yes, I think that we are fluid. Yeah, sure. I think there's a word I use always, but I can't remember right now. I don't know why. So, yeah, I mean, we don't have to sell and we don't have to hold. I mean, we have a lot of opportunities here to sort of, exit out of the site. To answer your question, some developers hold, some developers are merchant builders and they just want to construct, develop, and sell it, right? And so I think every investment company has their own criteria that they go by. For us, here's a word, we're opportunistic. There it is. So whether it presents itself to hold or sell, I think that we'll look at both, situations. But we're super busy, man. We're doing this deal. We got another deal that's in the Midwest that we've owned that land for 20 plus years that my stepdad bought. We got commercial properties that we're looking at in multiple, counties. There's a lot.
You mentioned, one exit could be to hold, cash flow the property, keep it in your portfolio. One exit could be a build to rent. Maybe things change based on entitlements. A decision would have to be made. What about build to sell? Condominium, townhouses.
On this property?
Yeah.
Well, if we do I believe with where the interest rate environment is right now, where the capital markets are, I do believe that this is a rental product all day, whether it's built to rent for townhomes or like attached like homes, or whether it's multifamily. This is a rental site which you can have as a single parcel.
What was that? Are you connected to the pod? Is it on here? I heard something coming through my headphones.
Dude, it sounded like Grant Cardone. I was like, Grant Cardone?
Wait, was that your phone ringing?
Oh my God. I was connected.
Oh yeah, definitely don't be connected, bro. So to me, right, like, my sense just kind of on the front line, tip of the spear, like broker side of it, working with buyers, I would imagine as a developer, it's extremely risky right now to build a for sale product. You don't know what the market's going to do in 24 months. Next year's an election year.
Dude, so
The debt market sucks. How do you know you can sell everything? Conversely, shitload of people moving here. You know you can rent the damn thing out. Why take the risk? Cash flow it, call it a day.
Dude, Tampa last year, I think it was 55,000 people moved into Tampa, or 60,000 people, some insane number like that. And so year over year, the population is increasing. There's a lot of jobs coming to Tampa, whether it's life sciences or tech, or there's a lot of work from home folks that are moving to sort of Tampa. And look what Tampa in general has a lot going for it, dude. It's beautiful. I think that our weather is better than Miami because it's cooler than Miami.
Yeah.
Like I was in Miami 2 weeks ago and it was 72 here. In Miami it was 82. Right. So that 10 degrees of temperature makes a difference. Miami is super crowded. If you go to like Brickell Bay Drive or like Brickell Avenue, dude, it's like Manhattan almost now. It's insane. Like the amount of cars that are there, it's nuts. Miami is different. It's very like, what's the right word? It's not like sketchy, but there's just
a different demographic.
So there's just a lot going on in Miami, and it's an interesting part of town.
It is so different, and I think you're right. It's interesting you bring up the weather, man. I've always thought that too. I've always felt like you go down to Miami and it's always more humid. It's always a little warmer.
Bro, always.
There's freaking like iguanas running around and coconut trees and shit. Like,
did you know that iguanas freeze?
I heard that, dude.
Yeah, dude.
They fall out of the trees.
Bro, it's nuts. I was playing golf at the Biltmore in Coral Gables a couple years ago, and it was like cold. It was like 40 degrees just randomly. And I swear to God, I was on a tee box, and like I heard a thump, and I was like, hell was that, dude? Another one. Dude.
Raining from the sky.
Like DJ Khaled. Another one. There was like 4 iguanas, dude, just dropped. And I was like.
And you're like, what in the
dude, and like you go up to them and they don't move. They're just frozen.
Just frozen there.
Just frozen.
Yeah, we don't deal with that here in Tampa.
No, we don't. No.
But
iguanas are annoying, by the way.
Are they?
They suck.
They're cool though. Why are they annoying?
They're cool looking.
They're
cool
annoying.
Looking. Because they're everywhere, dude. In Miami, it got really bad. Like, they were everywhere. Like, wherever you would walk, there's a freaking iguana.
Why are there iguanas in Miami and not Tampa? How have they not just made their way?
I don't know.
Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's the tropical weather down there.
I don't know.
Maybe it's too cold up here. I don't know either.
It's a great question. We should actually find that out.
Yeah, Tyler, Google.
Tyler, Google it. Yeah,
Tyler, pull that up.
Look up why are iguanas...
Let's bet though. I want to we should bet.
All right.
You guess first.
I think iguanas were not. I
was gonna say this.
Like local to Miami, and somebody moved them to Miami from like
some
Cuba
asshole had an iguana in a
South
cage
American country
and thought it would be cute to let his iguana out in his front yard, and now there's 157,000 of them.
Right.
Are not native to Florida and are considered an invasive species due to their impacts to native wildlife. Mm-hmm. There you go. Ish, should we just put the whole real estate thing to bed and be iguana hunters and go down there and trap all these bastards?
Dude, do you remember when they paid you to kill like pythons?
Yes, bro.
In the Everglades?
Look at that article. Invasive green iguanas are now being spotted in Tampa Bay area. Sound the alarm, people.
No.
Chicken of the trees even served for dinner? I don't know about that.
Ooh, I don't know.
That's a little wild, ABC Action News. Relax.
I don't know.
Pinellas County overloaded with iguanas. What? Oh, no. The invasive creatures have been spotted in the Pinellas.
Dude, they change color
counties.
too. It's insane. They change color. They go like from brown to green. They got these like spiky things on their head.
They change color. I never heard that.
And their tails, they can like cut their tails off if they feel threatened, and they can run away. It's insane.
Frozen iguanas. What should I do if I find a frozen iguana? Generally, if you find a stunned iguana, just leave it alone. It's probably a good idea. Wow. Hey, man, we got invasive species coming here. We got New Yorkers. We got iguanas.
Got iguanas. Got it all coming down.
All across the board.
We got Greco Real Estate. We got Serenity Capital Management in the building.
You know what though? I can't imagine myself. Obviously, I've got some, I've lived here my whole life and we have some family history going back. My family's been here a long time, but dude, what better place to be in the real estate industry than Tampa, Florida?
Tampa.
I mean, we got the weather, we got the palm trees. Apparently now we have iguanas.
Yeah. We have the Dick Greco station.
Dick Greco Plaza.
Plaza, sorry.
Shout out the trolley, the Tampa trolley. What do they call it?
What do you call
What's
it?
What's the official name?
Nanu.
Nanu,
yeah.
It's like the Italian word for grandfather.
Dude, it's so
I want to
cool.
get him on the pod.
I think that would be awesome, and you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was renting bikes the other day, and we were at the Dick Greco station. I'm sorry, Plaza.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is awesome, dude. You're like a part of Tampa's history, dude."
I mean, yeah, like I think that
like your blood is Tampa's history.
There's his
Imagine
statue.
if the world never had a Dick Greco, Tampa wouldn't be what it is today.
You know what? He did a lot of good things for the city.
Totally,
he was the one that brought back the streetcar system in the early 2000s when I was a little kid. And I think at the time, a lot of people looked at it like a novelty. But thank God he did that over 20 years ago, because now, man, I live at Ventana and Channelside, and my balcony faces the streetcar trolley line. Mm-hmm. And whenever that thing drives by, it is filled to the brim.
With people.
Packed,
dude,
bro.
I was going to say that to you. It's insane.
Packed.
Like, who would have ever thought that people would still use trolleys in 2023? But they do.
It's reliable, public, free transportation. And
totally.
it just shows you the not only like the availability, but the need for it, man. We need more public transit. I think the trolley line should go all across Tampa. I think there should be a line up to Seminole Heights, West Tampa, all the way down to South Tampa.
Yeah.
I think that trolley line should run everywhere. And look, the reality is it's like an old kind of cute streetcar. It's rickety. There's no air conditioning. It doesn't have to be like that. I think the point is the infrastructure is in place. The rail line is there. We should modernize it and expand it all across the city. Dude, look at the ridership. It's freaking packed. Right now it's free. I think if they were to upgrade it, you might have to have a fare. But just like any major metropolitan area, why wouldn't anyone visiting here, of course, or living here, buy a trolley pass? I would.
Totally.
Especially where you guys live. Serenity, your office is downtown Tampa in Park Tower.
It is.
It's kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, the reality is downtown's busy.
There was a guy that helped us find that office building. He's a really nice guy. You should meet him one day.
Yeah, he sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah.
I heard he has a podcast.
Yeah, his name's Garrett Greco.
Spill the beans like that, bro.
Okay.
They were the audience was guessing.
Dude, if Tampa becomes a true, like Water Street is like a live work play, and if downtown Tampa becomes a live work play environment, they should totally do that. And frankly, did you see the bike voucher system now?
No.
Yeah. So the mayor of Tampa is rolling out a program where essentially they're going to spend $170,000 and give out e-bike vouchers for people to get out of their cars and to commute via bike.
I love that.
So basically it'll be a $500 to a $2,000 voucher, and you could basically apply for this voucher. It's done by lottery, and instead of driving to work, you have an e-bike or you have a scooter. But this is sort of where the world is, transitioning to.
I think you're right. I think a lot of people are sick of sitting in cars. Cars are dangerous. They're annoying. Who likes sitting in traffic?
Nobody.
Unless
I had a sick car.
But what good's a Lambo if you're just sitting in traffic? I mean, it's still pretty damn good.
I mean, I think people, stare at you.
Don't ask me. I don't have a Lambo. I can't answer that question. I mean, dude, look, the reality is if the trolley's full, what's your next option? You're going to walk. I think e-bikes are great. I think Uber. I think anytime you get out of a car and onto the street, it's huge. And I also think that that's why a lot of the large-scale developers in Tampa, i.e. Water Street, Vinnick, Darrell Shaw, Gasworks, I think that's why all of those developments are turning towards walkability, because it's what people want. People don't want to live in the suburbs anymore. I totally agree
with you. And I think it's people our age and people even younger than us now. It's crazy to be like we're both 30, right? And looking at there's a complete new generation these guys over here where they really want to be a part of a live, work, play environment, and they're okay with renting. Dude, I'm okay with renting right now. Like until I'm married and shit, sure, I'll fucking rent. Sure, I'll pay, $3,000 a month for a apartment and have no, HOA or maintenance for my, lawn, or no issues with my HVAC, or like, just issues like owning a house. There's a lot of shit that pops up. And if I can just live in a nice environment, or a nice apartment, for sure.
I'm doing it as an investment strategy. Don't tell my wife. Hope she doesn't listen to this, but kind of the real reason why I'm selling where I live, my condo, and moving into a house and renting the house is because I can have that capital in my pocket and make some moves with it.
Oh yeah, dude.
I think a lot of young people think, gosh, I can just rent in Water Street, save money. Dude, buying a house is expensive, man. You can't just buy a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 house anymore. If you're a first-time home buyer in Tampa, unless you're going to go Seminole Heights and kind of maybe south of Gandy, you're going to be paying at least $500,000 for a nice house. You're kind of looking around, you're dabbling. You know what it costs, man. I think renting is a smart idea when you're young. It keeps you flexible. It keeps money in your pocket. And I think if you want that flexibility, it's the right thing to do. So we're going to sell our condo. I believe we're going to get a really good price for it. I'm going to take that chunk of change, keep it in my pocket, and then I'm going to rent. And now I have the flexibility. Maybe we stay there for a year. Maybe we stay there for 6 months. If a house pops up that Cody and I love, maybe we'll buy it. Maybe we won't.
Dude, you can rent, and whatever that capital is that you're going to, take from that property, you can invest it into, whether it's on a commercial deal or a development opportunity or a townhome opportunity, like whatever it is, like whatever your vision is. Dude, you can embark upon that vision with that capital. I think it's a great idea. And dude, rent. I feel like the days of like sitting on a house for 30 years.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sure. I mean, okay, maybe if you bought a house today and you really believed in it for the next 30 years and you wanted to make this your only house, sure. But if you were in the move of like, dude, honestly, like I don't want to move into like a normal house today. Like I would like to buy a really nice house. And until I have enough capital saved up, and I feel like I'm at a, position passive income wise to afford that type of a house, I'm okay with renting, dude. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone has that like dream home mentality where, you want a big yard and a pool and the big house and a great location. I think who doesn't want that? Obviously.
Yeah, everyone does.
I think that's just become extremely unattainable. To get a big, nice house, I would love to live on the water one day. I think having a boat in my backyard and having a dock, I just think that'd be so cool. Dude, the reality is that's millions of dollars today. When my grandfather bought a brand new house on Davis Islands, one of the houses my dad grew up in, it was $25,000, bro. On the water. On Davis Islands, on the water for a brand new house, $25,000. Now, this was in the 1960s. That house was
on the water?
On the water, $25,000. I think he ended up selling it for like $100,000 or $125,000.
When was that?
Early 70s.
Oh, gotcha.
Early 70s, something like that. But dude, you can't do that anymore, man. I mean, if you want a house on the water, you're going to be paying millions of dollars
for land.
Yeah.
Was it the house that land on Davis Island sold for $7 million?
Well,
was it $7 million or $9 million?
The Derek Jeter house sold for land value at $22 million. Allegedly, they're going to tear it down
and build 3 homes or whatever.
Who knows what they're going to do? They might end up keeping it. I don't think anyone knows but them, obviously. But the idea was, man, they bought that for land value at $22 million, 3 lots. What is that per lot? 7, 14.
Yeah. So it's around $7.5 million a lot. Yeah.
And then on South Davis Islands, Martinique, which is really the most premium street on Davis Islands because you're on the water and you face the bay. So it's a full bay, beautiful view. I think there was an acre that sold down there, or just under an acre, for $9 million. Dirt.
That's crazy, dude.
So
that's what Miami prices were when I a couple years ago, and now it's even crazier, right? Miami, it's like you can find land for $15 million for just a parcel of land.
Obviously, I think the answer to this question is no. But do you see coming from Miami, Tampa, at least jumping up into some ridiculous numbers for residential?
I feel that it'll never be Miami, but will it get higher? Yeah, because you can't buy more land, and so inherently the cost of land just goes up and the cost of homes just go up, right? Yeah. So South Tampa is a saturated market. Now I think there's pockets in South Tampa that can be redeveloped, and Like we saw that community in South Tampa or just north of like, MacDill Air Force Base that are selling homes for like $2 or $3 million.
Yeah,
which,
3.5.
I mean, that's a little crazy, but, like South Tampa's pretty saturated. And so like, where is the growth? I mean,
yeah. Well, I think South Tampa is kind of an interesting market too, because it's such a high barrier to entry. It's a peninsula, right? And you've got an Air Force base on the south side, which will never be developed. And of course, Davis Islands was actually built. It's a man-made island, and it's not allowed anymore. I mean, can you imagine as a developer going to the city, hey, I want to drag up some sand and create my own island to build homes? The environmentalist would freak out. There's no way that's going to happen. So there's a huge barrier to entry, and I don't see the demand switching. And as long as they're not building more land in South Tampa, prices are going to keep going up.
Totally. I totally agree with you. And there might be dips, and that's a part of the real estate cycle. And as prices will fluctuate with like rates, but for the most part, man, I totally agree with you. I think that long term, if you look at Tampa as a stock, it's a blue chip stock, and we're here to invest in it now.
Does Serenity, you guys are opportunistic, so it sounds like anything that makes sense on paper and something that you guys want to be invested in, you'll do. Yeah. Do you see yourself getting more into infill city development?
Maybe in the future, like if there is a great site, like, next to UT, that's on an acre or two of land, and we can build 20, townhomes on there and sort of mark the luxury aspect to our business and brand. Yeah, for sure.
Is there any news on that? That's probably a hush hush.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about that deal.
No, never mind. Yeah. We'll edit that part out.
Yeah, no worries.
So you guys are an interesting development company because you are just looking for good opportunities. I think that's incredible.
And we're looking at, and every day we look at Pasco County, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Manatee, Sarasota County. Those are 5 counties, and I focus the shit out of all those because there's so much opportunity there, whether it's commercial stuff, retail, QSR, gas station opportunities for a hard corner, whether it's a residential townhome development or a multifamily site where we can get the zoning change, or we can we can do a comprehensive plan amendment, or there is a townhome site or a single family site built for rent, built for sale. We're looking at every opportunity.
Anything that makes sense.
I'm uncovering every rock. I'm 30, and I think that you can agree with the sentiment is that we are here to stay long term, and dude, like we're just both hustlers, man.
Yeah, as am I. I mean, I believe in this area more than anyone. Yeah. You know that.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when you get a little pessimistic. Yeah, or Shree gets pessimistic, of course.
Shree gets pessimistic often.
That's true.
Yeah.
He'd probably be on here saying, man, the market's going to tip. He watches too much CNBC, man. Those people.
It's doomsday.
It's doom and gloom. Yeah. No, but I think that our Gulf Coast area, Tampa Bay area, whatever you want to call it, the counties you mentioned, essentially from even south of Sarasota, maybe Charlotte County, Sarasota County, Manatee, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Pasco, Hernando, like this Gulf Coast area has been slept on for the entirety of Florida's history. Mm-hmm. And the East Coast of Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, Miami, right, South Florida has completely been developed. You can't go any more west. The Everglades are right there. Prices have risen. We're actually seeing a lot of people that are moving to Florida. When people move to Florida, especially from the Northeast, a lot of them think South Florida, Miami-Dade, Broward, right? They go down there. I think a lot of those people get down there and they're like, dude, there's so much traffic. It's so expensive. It's so crazy. And then they come over here and they're like, dude, this is essentially effectively the same thing. It's nice. There's a lot of stuff to do and it's half the price and it's half as busy. This is a little hidden gem here. And I think we're in early. And we're young enough to where we can make a footprint here and have some awesome opportunities in real estate, dude.
Dude, I can't agree more with you. Let's fucking do it.
Let's fucking ride, bro. Well, dude, where can people find you if they want to follow along with your business, man?
Yeah, man. Appreciate that. So you can look at our Instagram. It's Serenity CM_RE, or check out the website. My contact information's on there. And I have to promote this. We also have our own podcast, which is the Real Talk Tampa Bay. And we're gonna have Garrett on there soon, one day as well. And dude, man, you're my boy, and we're gonna grow together, and we're gonna do deals together, and we're optimistic about Tampa, and we're here for a long time, dude.
I love it, dude. Thanks for coming on, and I look forward to the next one on your podcast.
Good man.
All right, later, bro. Bye, everybody.
See ya.